Cool. We're recording. All right.
Okay.
So the bubble so far, you think?
Well,
What do you think?
hold
No,
on, man.
man.
You're popping off right
I'm
now.
popping
First of
up
all,
already, man. I got to.
welcome the people. Welcome, guys. Very
Uh,
first episode of Washed. My name is Josh.
I'm
This is
Steve.
Steve.
How you doing?
We are going to be talking basketball and a little bit about us in this podcast. We are two washed basketball players. We went from being, pretty good at the game, low in college level, a little bit higher, and then now we're just the old out of shape guys at the gym that talk about basketball.
Yeah. And I was real bad. But
Hey man, you're huge though, so
yeah,
it's fine.
right. Yeah. So we've known each other for going on about 15 years now.
Something like that.
Yeah, 15 years, and we sit around and we chop it up about basketball and sports in general sometimes, and we thought, why not just toss a podcast out there and see what we get. It's nothing super serious, and if people end up liking it, then we'll keep going. Why not?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have a great time with this. But let's jump right into it because we wanted to make these a little bit shorter, and then I wrote the rundown, and it is, as you pointed out, a little bit longer than anticipated.
Yeah, it'll last a solid hour if we keep going with it.
Well, the way we ramble.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Let's just talk about in general, like the bubble so far. What are your thoughts like right now on the bubble?
I don't like it. I don't like the bubble.
Really?
I don't like the bubble. I'm gonna tell you the bubble works on in a business perspective, but there's a couple things that people don't really pay attention to when you got these guys playing. Some of them feed off of the crowd.
Sure.
We had another guy that we talked to about this stuff, and he got into that a little bit. But the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. You have some guys that will feed off the crowd, that get a pump off of that, and when you got a bubble and piped in crowd noise, it doesn't do anything for them. They'll fall flat.
Well, I got you. And my biggest takeaway when they started the whole bubble, the first thing that went through my mind, we're going to talk Heat Celtics today, and I thought to the Heat and their sophomore, Tyler Hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler Hero started out, he wasn't highly recruited. I think he went D3, and then he moved up to D1, and then eventually the NBA, and he's doing great. He's playing really well, right?
Yeah.
But that guy is, what would he be then? 4 years removed from playing like competitive basketball in an empty gym, right? So just 4 years ago, and then think about his rookie workouts and pre-draft workouts, biggest moments of his life, all done playing basketball in empty gyms, right? It's just GM scouts, whatever.
Yeah.
When was the last time someone like Anthony Davis played basketball in an empty gym? Like meaningful basketball in an empty gym?
Years. Yeah.
At least, right? Kawhi Leonard, when was the last time that guy played meaningful basketball in an empty gym?
Yeah, it was
like forever. And then I thought about LeBron, right? He's had thousands of people watching him play basketball since his sophomore year in high school.
Yeah.
How much of a trip does this have to be for guys like that?
Yeah, it's got to be a bit of a change, and they're always practicing against the other team, 5 other guys on the team, maybe
Sure.
one or two of the rest, and then the entire stadium. And that's why I think it's a departure. Right. And I don't think I think we're seeing great basketball, but I don't think we're seeing the same style of NBA basketball we're used to. I want to stress though that these guys do play games. They have to be playing like a pickup game against somebody in their own little personal gyms or at the stadiums or whatever. But
during practice or something
practice,
like that.
Yeah. But
it's not on the line then.
Yeah. No, nothing's on the line. But
okay.
But you've got the hard aspect of it versus the feeding aspect, and some people do feed off the crowd, and other people will just go out there and do whatever they do. I mean, take Jimmy Butler for example. Jimmy Butler, and up until now, he's been sort of the choke guy. You get into these heated playoffs.
Yeah, Minnesota and Philly. Yeah.
he
A little bit,
chokes,
yeah.
he chokes, and just a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but you'd see him. It looked like he was choking, but now here in
I just
this.
had visions of Jimmy Butler watching you say that and showing up on your front doorstep.
Right, and it's oh well, but this is the thing. It happens. It's not that it's not a big deal. People are human. You can't help
Right.
that. But with this, he doesn't have the crowd in his face. He doesn't have all this blinking, all these external stimuli. He doesn't have that anymore. And of course, he still has the guys on the court talking crap. But that's easy to drown out when you're playing a pickup game, and that's essentially what they're doing. They're playing a pickup
Sure.
game. You know.
Well, that brings us to kind of the next thing we want to talk about is the whole bubble and the atmosphere we discussed has given us some crazy notable wins, right?
Yep.
There's been some notable dubs in the bub.
Mm-hmm.
It's been crazy. First one that I can think of off the top of my head is every game the Phoenix Suns played and every game that Devin Booker played, right?
Yep.
Undefeated in the bubble. The Phoenix Suns.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing. That's another thing where I feel like you might have what's it called, a time zone issue with that. You know, you come from the western from Arizona, West Coast time, Mountain time, wherever, and then you end up on the East Coast and you're playing like like crap, and it just doesn't work for you. You just aren't hitting shots. You're tired, that kind of thing. Jet lag can be real when you come from somewhere as close as Chicago to Los Angeles. Jet lag can be real.
Maybe.
I'm just going from personal experience on some of these things because I've flown from Chicago, you know, where I'm living at the area, and into Tennessee, East Coast Tennessee, far east by North Carolina, and I've woken up feeling like crap. Might be the altitude difference, might be the time zone, but I just wake up feeling like crap for 1 or 2 days, and then I'm go back at it. You know.
I got you.
Yeah, I just feel.
But I think I don't know if I agree with that because they got there, you know, so early, right? These teams were in Orlando for so long before they played even against each other, right? They were in Orlando for a bunch of time before they could even get on the practice floor. Then they had a bunch of practice floor time and then they had the 4 quote unquote like preseason games,
right,
or whatever that was.
Right.
So I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, Phoenix played well, and if we're talking about notable wins in the bubble, I mean, Denver's got 6 of them now. That would be notable, right?
Yeah.
You come back from down 3-1 twice, 3 wins in a row, twice in a row. That's 6 pretty notable wins. That's
and I think
pretty nuts.
I think what you're saying here is the exact flip side to what I'm talking about. It's not that they're doing so well now in the bubble.
Oh, it's that they don't have to deal with.
Yeah, they don't have to deal with all that time zone shuffle and all that traveling. They're there, so they can just perform straight across the board. There's no flying all over the place. And
I got you. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I probably wasn't clear about that, but I feel like that should be something that's a variable in this. And I think I seen an article about that where they came out and they said that the owners and the coaches and everyone were looking at that because you got teams that were just bad these past few years that came in here and just started knocking people's lights out, like you said.
Right. They're trying to figure out a way to give the home team a home court advantage, right? That was a lot of the pre-bubble discussion was, okay, well, do they get the ball at the beginning of every quarter? Or, you know, what can we do in game to give the home team a bigger advantage? Because if you're the Clippers, right?
Yep.
And people don't have to fly all the way to LA and deal with that time, and you get more home games than they do, you lose an advantage. Not only just the crowd, but like you said, you get to sleep in your own bed and stuff. And you know, like I do, when you sleep in your own bed, you play better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they were trying to figure out ways to give the home team more advantage, and what they came up with was really interesting. Do you know what they did?
What?
They gave them first pick of accommodations.
Huh.
Right?
Yeah.
So and it just came out, and I wonder if we can find this online. LeBron's suite just came out. Like the views of his suite just came out, and they are nuts. A lot of these guys you saw when they first got to the bubble, they were doing the camera around and they were doing the selfie, and it looked like a hotel room you and I have stayed in.
Yeah.
And LeBron just showed his suite when he was watching football.
Oh, yep. I see these pictures. Yeah.
And it was
It's nicer.
Dude.
It's nicer than my house. Come on.
So
Oh wow.
so here, if you can pull this up for everyone,
Here,
let me know when we got it.
let me set this up real quick because
But
that's crazy. That is crazy.
yeah. So you got it up?
Yep. Wait one.
Who would have thought first day difficulties, right?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just put in a text channel for it, so you should be able to see the link right there. If not, then I'll figure something out.
I have the video pulled up right now.
Yeah, toss the video on then, and we just.
I did. It's playing on. It's playing on the stream.
Okay. Yeah. No, it is not.
Well, now it is. You got me?
Yeah, I'm watching the stream. Still showing nothing. You've got a YouTube video of the Celtics up right now.
Oh man.
It's fine.
Here's what I'll do. Now you got it?
Yep, I see it.
All right. So this is his
You got your sound
freaking
muted.
suite. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not
Okay.
there's no need to play sound on this video.
Oh yeah.
Look at this thing.
Yeah.
So this is nicer than my house,
Yeah.
stacked on your house,
Yeah.
stacked on your old man's house. This thing is, look at this. Look at the recessed lighting. So this was the home court advantage they decided to go with, right?
Yeah. You get a nicer room.
You get I don't know if you can call this a nicer room. I
Well,
think it's a much nicer room.
Are they continually switching while they're doing this home court advantage stuff? Like they play one game and then they wait 6 days and then they have to move while they're going in there? Because if they're
No.
Okay.
So if you're the number one seed got first pick of accommodations.
Oh.
And that's
okay.
just their accommodations through the whole thing.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
These suites that these guys are in are very nice compared to what was coming out very early in the bubble.
Yeah.
So we'll take that. But let's move along. Just if you could one thing real quick before we move on to the next segment, right?
Yeah.
What's your best memory of the bubble? Like when we were 5 years from now, we look back on the bubble season. What's the first thing that's going to come off the top of your head?
Actually, I liked watching the Nuggets series, the entire Nuggets. In fact, not even just the Nuggets series, the Mavs. I love the Mavs series. Not
Okay.
their first one. That was, God, what is his name? It's not
Luka?
Doncic. Yeah, Luka. Luka, when he hit the game winner.
Ooh,
Yeah, on the bad
that game
angle,
winner was
too.
nice.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, this dude has it. Yeah, he was that was real good. And
dude, it's another guy like Jokic. It looks like he can't jump over a credit card.
Nope.
And then he hits this step back 39-footer or whatever for the game. It's nuts.
And not only does he do all this stuff, and he makes it look like he's just doing it real lazy like, but he's going out there and he's competing and he's performing and he's putting his heart and soul out there, and every time you see it, it's just like, damn, this is a really good game. This is a really good game. Every time I watched him play. And that was the same thing with the Bucks until Giannis got hurt. It was just I just loved watching him play. It was fun to watch him play. It's not the argument that I had that these other guys aren't. It's just I feel like Bucks are a small team. Milwaukee's a small town compared to some of these other markets. So I feel like you have the underdog thing going down for them.
Sure.
One championship in how many years?
Well, let's kind of roll into that because the MVP was announced today.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, you talked about him just a second ago. It's Giannis.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So he wins his second consecutive MVP, back-to-back MVPs. And this year he joins, I think it's Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan as the only people to win MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the first question I got to ask you is Giannis won his second consecutive MVP. Does he deserve it?
Yep.
Okay, so you think he deserves it?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then if he won it, and only Hakeem and Jordan have won those two awards in the same season,
Mm-hmm.
Does he belong in a conversation with them?
Not yet.
I'm with you. I think it's early.
Yeah.
I think it's early for that. And I think this is one of those stats, and we'll visit this tons on this show. So much. Oh my God, so much. This is one of those stats that when you play basketball long enough, like when the NBA exists for long enough, these things are going to happen again, right?
Yep.
Like Steve Nash, how many people have won back-to-back MVPs?
Yeah.
Probably, not a ton. I thought the list is like 6 or something like that.
But you got Steve
right?
Nash, Jordan.
And Steve Nash is in there. But
Yeah.
nobody would say, oh, Steve Nash belongs in a conversation with Jordan, right?
Right.
Like that's not how that works.
Yeah.
At least I don't think they would.
No, yeah.
So I think this is one of those things that's just was bound to happen.
Yeah.
And it's bound to happen again. It's like Steph Curry, right?
Yeah.
Someone was bound to be the unanimous MVP sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I argue it should have been Shaq, but it was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so now he deserves it, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't quite belong in that conversation.
No.
So it begs the question, is it awkward receiving the NBA MVP award on your couch?
No.
Even because I think that would be awkward. Because even if they did it like in the regular season where you could accept it in your arena or something like that, or where your team could have a press conference and you could be standing with your owner, all the different MVP speeches you've had, right?
Yeah.
Now instead you're right here and you're video conferencing with Adam Silver and you're like, oh, thank you, I am the MVP. And then they hang up and you stand up and you've got your suit jacket and boxers on or something like that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think it's awkward because of the current circumstances. You've got.
Well, it can still be awkward.
No, well, I mean, it can't. I don't think it can be awkward. What do you expect him to do? Have him to have fireworks in his backyard and stuff?
What if your cat jumps on your desk while you're accepting the MVP award?
I mean, the cat. And
then you go to pet your cat, and it's one of those cats that bites you. It doesn't want to be pet.
I think him getting it on his couch is a lot more of a humbling statement for everyone else than it is just for him. Because look, man, how much money does he make compared to either of us?
That's not a comparison,
right? So what I'm saying is this guy makes all this money, and we know his story. We've heard it.
So he's sitting on a Gucci couch. Like, what is this? What are you getting at?
No, I mean he's definitely not sitting on a Gucci couch. His story is like he sends money home to his family. He does all that stuff. He had to catch the bus to get to the arena one time and get a ride.
That was weeks ago.
But true. But that's the thing. He's on his couch. He's just like every other guy in this entire situation. He may be in the NBA, but he's not going out and having a party about this stuff.
Okay. Fair enough.
If he was having a party about it, then I'd probably feel some sort of way about it. I can't have a party right now. Then he can't have a party right now.
Fine. If he's breaking quarantine rules and pandemic rules to celebrate his own MVP, I think we'd all be pissed.
Right.
But I want to end the MVP discussion, and I want to get my piece out there because I hate the NBA MVP. I hate it. Steve, I hate it.
Why?
Because is it the best player? Is it the most valuable player? How do you determine value? Is value just stats? Is it just the one that people like the most that year, so it's most popular? Right?
Yeah.
We're not going to go and ramble on about this, but I'm just going to get this out, right?
Yeah.
When Jordan left the Bulls,
mm-hmm.
they got to the conference finals with just Scottie and the rest of the team, right?
Yeah.
So you took Jordan off the Bulls. Does that mean he's less valuable? Because without him, they get almost as far, but with him, they get a little bit farther. And some of these teams, you took Steve Nash off the Suns, right?
Yeah.
Or Kobe on the Kwame Brown Lakers.
Yeah.
Right? He dragged that team to the playoffs. You take Kobe off that team is getting the first overall pick. LeBron when he left the Cavs, right? How they got Kyrie. Things like that. So it's just one of these awards that seems it's so I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. We need to split it up. Who's the most valuable or whatever the current award is, and we need to give out an award for the best player in the NBA. Like, okay, you didn't have the best season, or like Kawhi. Kawhi sat how many games this year?
Yeah.
Because of load management or whatever, right?
Yeah.
LeBron James, he's better. It's just the regular season. This guy's got a different goal in mind. Giannis is still young, right?
Yeah. See, So you might be, yeah, you're right. It's not that great of it, but you might be trying to plumb at undercurrents that we might not even know about. People might be betting on the MVP, and then what's going to end up happening is if you go through and you get you put the MVP to the person with, say, the best stats, well, then you're going to have a guy like Oscar Robinson that's going to be the MVP. He's on the worst team in the and he's on the worst
right.
team
And he's
in
just
the
putting
league.
up I call it a Westbrook MVP.
Yeah, he's just putting up buckets. He's just getting
Putting up
rebounds,
numbers.
He's playing the game, and it's just sort of like, okay, well, why is he the most valuable player, and his team didn't get but 12 wins?
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk Heat Celtics. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and play this in the background while we're talking. Big news here. Obviously, huge news.
Yeah.
The Heat are up 2-0.
Yeah.
On the Celtics.
Yeah.
Did you see this coming?
No. But
I did not see this coming.
Last time I saw the Celtics, and we've talked about this before, is when Gordon Hayward hurt his leg. And,
that kind of I was watching that game with the wife. Oh,
and that put a kibosh on me even wanting to watch Celtics games because of my situation with my knee. And when I saw his leg, I was like, all right, I'm done with that. But I knew that the Celtics, in terms of the Eastern Conference, the Celtics actually had a team, and they were always in there. And to be completely honest, coming into the last four teams, or in the Eastern Conference, Eastern Conference Finals, excuse me. I actually had either the Raptors and the Bucks or the Celtics and the Bucks. I had one of those teams. I can't think of
But either way, you didn't have the Heat, right?
No, I did not have the Heat. That's
so I did not have the Heat either.
I had no idea where they came from. That comes back to what I was saying about Jimmy earlier or before. The man is like they're all playing.
He's a leader. Him and Goran Dragic. But it's worth noting. It is worth pointing out that both games have been crazy close. Like it hasn't been like the Heat's running over the Celtics or something like that, right?
Yep.
They've come ahead in some close games. Jimmy Butler does offer some veteran leadership along with Goran Dragic, and the Celtics are young, right? Like the whole team is young.
Yep.
Tatum, Brown, Smart, all of them. They're all young guys. Mm-hmm. So do you think that could have something to do with it? I think it does. At the end of games, I think it does.
Yeah, I do. As you play longer, you get the floor awareness, and you understand how you want to attack a situation coolly. Like you have a cool head about these things. And what I'm seeing is, like, for example, that block at the end of the game. I think it was
Tatum. Adebayo on Tatum.
Yeah, Adebayo on Tatum. That block, he was going to dunk on this guy at the end of the game. I think a veteran
as time's expiring.
Yeah, as time's expiring. I think a veteran would have probably taken that and either taken a mid-range, wide open, or would have tried to draw a foul. Now,
I don't think so. I think that was the right play. I think it's just a better defensive play.
To try and just dunk on somebody at the end of the game, when you knew you could, when you saw him there and you could have just ran straight into him and drawn a blocking foul. You
want to put that in the ref's hands, though?
See, at the end of the game, and it's blunt and blatant, then yeah, I'll toss it in the ref's hands. But if it's not blunt and if it's not blatant, then play ball. Like I said, the thing with this is that, like I said, they're young. The Celtics are young, and not even the Heat aren't that old, except for Udonis Haslem. And I think that guy is brought out of our sarcophagus every time the game starts.
I think. Did you see? There was a quote recently. Someone interviewed him. I think it was recent. I hope I'm not wrong. But they interviewed him, and they were like talking about his leadership and dedication and like what he expects.
Yeah.
And he said something like, "I'm 40 years old and I keep myself at 6% body fat. Like, so if that tells you what I expect from the young guys, something like that." And I thought that was hilarious. As the old fat guy at the gym now, I'm like, oh, that's fucking funny.
Yeah, it's just that the man is behind the scenes leading the team. He's not going to sit there and put up the minutes that these guys do, but he does that Vince Carter thing where he comes in and he starts whispering in the ear of the guy that wants to lead the team, and the team somehow starts being just a little bit better than what they were before. And
I agree.
Yeah, and I just feel like that's where he's at, and they aren't much older than the Celtics. Truthfully,
No, but
but the leadership,
their top end is much higher.
yeah,
Let's put it that way.
yeah, they have at least 2 or 3 old guys, or
Right.
at least semi-veterans that can
Veterans.
sit
Call them
there.
veterans.
Yeah, so they can sit
Yeah.
there and say, yeah, you guys need to be doing this way, and calm down about this, that kind of thing, you know.
So let's get to the important part. First question. Just simple, short, yes or no, and then a quick why. Is it over? Is this series over?
No.
Why?
First, because of the Celtics coach. The Celtics coach,
Okay.
you know, he coached Butler in the NCAA, and they were not a team that you wanted to a school, at least at the time, a program, to sleep on. You got him down,
Okay.
and you got him down in the third. Don't take your foot off the pedal. Keep going.
All right, so Brad Stevens and
Yeah.
any other reason, or just Brad Stevens?
Not just Brad Stevens, but the players in the Celtics as a whole. Just because they're young doesn't mean they can't learn quick and adapt, right?
Okay.
And then you know what? I'm tossing my flip of the coin is always injuries. It'll always be injuries. You can
Yeah, we can't account for that.
Nope.
But so you're saying it's not over,
No.
but knowing it's a 2-0 Heat lead, who you got? Who's winning the series?
Boston.
No, that's unfair. That's unfair. Who's winning Game 3?
Boston.
Boston?
Yep. I'm giving
All right,
Boston
I'll
the
take-
series.
I'm taking Miami because, and this is, I don't know if you've heard about this, the screaming match at the end of the last game in the Celtics locker room. You hear about this?
No.
Now, this could be a good thing or a bad thing, but Marcus Smart was heard all the way out in the hallway screaming at his teammates in the Celtics locker room post-game. There was banging and clanging as if things were being thrown or smashed.
Yeah.
And then he was still talking and yelling as he walked out of the locker room. Then later in that night, Brad Stevens stayed up late to meet with Celtics leadership, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, right? Those guys, and kind of talk through some stuff.
Yeah.
Now, it's all being reported that everything's cool. No one's mad. No one's upset. But that could go one of two ways, right?
True.
It could be a great motivator, and people finally like turn it on and figure it out, or
Right.
it could crumble right before your eyes.
True.
So you got Boston. I'm gonna take Miami. I'm gonna say Boston after that shouting match. They can't emotionally turn it on. There's gonna be a little leftover attention, and I got Miami. But let's get to the preview that I've been looking forward to, because I'm excited for this series. Let's talk Nuggets Lakers.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. Man.
Nuggets
Go
Lakers.
ahead. You're excited for it. Good. Lead us off, man.
I am. So let's talk just real quick. Let's just point out Nuggets so far, impressive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like real impressive.
Oh yeah. Terrifying team to play against. I see when the Nuggets are playing, they go down 3-1. I feel like they have to get a rhythm against who they're playing, not against how, not in regards to how they're playing. You see them play when it comes to the Clippers. And the Clippers, who knows what was going on with them in there when they went all the way up. Who knows? I don't know if they just started coasting or what. But
so we're gonna save that for the next episode, because
Yeah.
I've got a whole lot to say about all of the LeBron James slander that was being thrown around LA and the whole Clippers kingdom that was happening. I got a whole lot to say, but we're gonna save that.
yeah,
So let's just focus on the Nuggets, because I think that happens. This just kind of brings up a point. I think so many people are saying the Clippers lost the series and not the Nuggets won the series, right?
right. Now,
But the Nuggets clearly played well enough to win.
yeah,
And not only that, if you win 3 games in a row in the NBA playoffs, they play 7 games. The saying is the better team wins in the
Yeah.
NBA, right?
yeah.
So doesn't that just make the Nuggets the better team with a guy who can't jump over a credit card?
Yeah, but and I'll be completely straight. Play a little devil's advocate on this. The Nuggets were the only team that I heard of that went into the bubble and really started changing stuff up and experimenting. They had
How so?
5 starting centers.
Oh, that's right. They did the was it 6'9" and over? Paul Millsap was the smallest guy
Yeah, they
or
had
whatever.
they
I
had
forgot about
yeah
that
they
with
had
Bobo.
they had a huge starting lineup, and they had a huge starting lineup, and they tried it out, and then they went and did. Then they started changing up their offensive schemes, and they had the big man bringing the ball up every once in a while. They
Right.
were changing stuff up, not just to make it fun, but to see what worked for them when they're going forward. You see,
Sure.
in their first series, they were playing the Jazz, and
Right.
the Jazz ran them out of the gym, or out of there. They
Sure
ran
did.
them out.
Early in that series, sure
Yeah,
did.
they ran them out, and then they changed up their lineup, and instead of the Jazz running them out, they started running with them. Then they started stopping them, right? They started running
I
with
mean,
them. And they
when you put
started
it that way,
stopping
it
them.
sounds simple, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
but
mean,
yeah,
you're right.
we let's not make it too tough. But then you've got the Clippers. The Clippers had supposedly really good D. Well, then they say they brought out a team that said, you know what, that's fine. You got good D. We're gonna start putting up buckets, and that was after the third game. You know, and I mean that's what they say. The Clippers had good
That's what
D.
they say.
Well, the
They said
Nuggets
they were going to
proved
be the
that.
best defensive team in the league.
Yeah,
That did not show. But okay, so the
yeah,
Nuggets, I don't want to call them the bubble Cinderella. I think that was the Suns and the Blazers were like the bubble
yeah,
Cinderella, right? Where they had to essentially win everything to get into the playoffs
yeah,
and stuff like that. Then we're playing great. That's more of a bubble Cinderella to me. This Nuggets team it just seems to be figuring out at the right time. But what we talked about with the Celtics, I think may come true for the Nuggets, right?
yeah,
The Celtics, they're extremely young, right? And they're very hot and cold, just like these Celtics.
yeah,
Could find yourself in a hole, and I think against real veteran players, right? And I'm talking like Rajon Rondo, right, in this series, LeBron James, Danny Green, right? These guys that have been around the league, right? As much as I hate to say, call them a savvy veteran, guys, like Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee,
yeah,
they've been to the top of the mountain before. I don't think you want to get into an 0-2 hole
yeah.
against this team.
Yep.
There's much less likely to fall apart, like we talked about with the veteran leadership. And that takes me into, let's talk about the Lakers so far. And the Lakers have had almost like the exact opposite bubble experience as the Nuggets.
Yeah.
The Lakers played those early games. They beat the Clippers, and then they looked like they hadn't touched a basketball in 4 months all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, oh my God. It was, the whole team was shooting like sub 20% from three and like 30% from the field. It was insane. I've never seen anything like it. And then all of a sudden, you get to game 2 of the Portland series, and they just click a switch.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this is how you play basketball.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
I like this. They're my argument for the crowd pleasers. These guys. Let's look. Dwight Howard, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Rajon Rondo. They make plays and the crowd goes wild for it. And I'm saying they still do that, but that's what they did. I mean, think about Celtics Rajon Rondo. The man was there to please the crowd.
He was dropping times.
Yeah, and then you got Dwight Howard. He would jump above the rim to dunk on somebody. He jumped above the backboard. LeBron James is obvious. Anthony Davis obvious because this is just their thing.
Right. That's just what they do.
Right. And I feel like when they first got into it, they didn't have they
couldn't manufacture they couldn't manufacture the energy themselves. So you're saying the energy they normally get from the crowd, right?
Yeah.
They couldn't manufacture that themselves.
Yeah. And if you even watch some of these highlights we're watching, when the crowd is going wild, they're moving fast. The Lakers
the showtime.
Yeah.
Right.
Showtime's there. Yeah, they're excited. They're into it. Let's do this. But then the very second the second you put them in, you don't put them in front, they're lackadaisical. And I mean, they're still obviously great players because they are where they are. But
they're in the NBA. So
yeah, I just feel like that they lost the little spark, the little half step, and they already got it back. But
right.
But the thing that I feel is going to make a very big difference for this entire series is the ISO that they do a lot. They do a lot of ISO. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
haven't been recently.
They
I know what
haven't.
you're talking about. So
Yeah.
in the early season, but they haven't. And again, I'm a LeBron James homer. Like that's
Yeah.
for sure. That's out in the open. But they haven't been ISOing as much recently. There's a lot more ball movement. It's swinging
Okay.
around a little bit more.
Okay.
But okay, so then what do the Nuggets do anything better than the Lakers?
I feel like the Nuggets shoot better.
Okay, so like, are you talking outside shooting, like 3-point shooting, or
Yep.
just in general from the field?
Outside
Okay,
shooting. And I also feel like if the Nuggets come with the energy they have and the willingness to change and constantly keep changing up their play style and their lineups, that kind of thing, I feel like they will make a difference and they will get a lot farther in the series. I don't know if they'll win it. I'm not gonna put my signature on that, but I will say that if you got a guy like was it
Jokic.
Jokic. If you got a guy like Jokic and Jamal Murray and those guys and all the other guys that are on the team, and they start banging threes, you and I both know from personal experience, once they start hitting and you don't stop them from drowning, you got to do something. You're going to have to start fouling. You can't let a guy like Anthony Davis or LeBron foul out. You want Dwight to foul
Sure.
out, though.
So I got to tell you, I had the same thought. However, the Lakers just played the team that shoots the most and highest percentage threes in the NBA in the last series.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So they played Houston, and the Lakers showed a willingness to, like you're talking about with the Nuggets, change their entire team defense.
Yeah.
Right? Around this game.
Yeah.
So I think the one good thing that the Lakers got going for them, and they changed their lineup.
Yeah.
JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard after the first game didn't see the floor. Or sorry, after the second game. I think JaVale McGee still started the second game.
Right.
But then they stopped seeing the floor. They just completely changed.
True.
I think I'm trying to think because there's Nuggets are great passing center, right? Jokic sees the floor, plays the game well, and their scorers are good. Jamal Murray is a great scorer. Paul Millsap's got great veteran leadership. He's one of those guys you'll take on any team, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think they do anything better than the Lakers. If we're talking about interior defense and offense, I'll take the Lakers. I got Anthony Davis over Jokic. Even though I like Jokic, Anthony Davis I feel like he can do more, right? So I'll take AD. When it comes to running the floor, seeing the floor, kind of getting the offense going, I'm taking the Lakers because I'm taking LeBron as my point guard. He's the best player still in the NBA. And the one thing I agree with you on is shooting. But if Danny Green finds some kind of a stroke, I'm taking the Lakers there too, because we've seen Danny Green perform in the conference finals, in the finals, in playoff moments, right? Yeah. We've seen the man perform. So if he can get it together, I'm taking him too on paper.
Yeah. And
so I don't know, man.
Yeah, and you know what? I for lack of trying, I can't find a reason to go with the Nuggets. Other than the fact that if they get down 3-1, I'm afraid for the Lakers.
That's one of those things. Okay, let's do fake scenario, right? Yeah. Heat win their series.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Nuggets get down 3-1 and come back and beat the Lakers. We now have a Heat Nuggets final.
Right.
Do you use Doc Brown's DeLorean to go back in time and put $5,000 on this in Vegas in preseason?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. How much money do you save up to bet? Because
I would take out a loan on my house.
It's going to come out. It always does. It's going to come out. There's one guy.
Yeah.
There's one guy he grew up in Miami and he's lived in Denver his whole life. And every year he goes to Vegas and he bets a Heat Nuggets final. Yep. And this year his $10 is going to just blow up.
You put $10 on the Heat Nuggets final. Here's $2 billion. Like what?
Here's $2 billion. You now own 30% of Amazon or something like that. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So that brings us to the final question tonight, game 1. Knowing that LeBron has lost his last 4 game 1s and 6 of his last 7, I think it is. And aside from playing Golden State, won all of those series, but always losing game 1.
Yeah.
Who wins game 1?
Lakers.
I think the Lakers do too.
Lakers.
I think there's too much of the Nuggets comeback. There's too much Cinderella story.
Mm-hmm.
I think those veterans on the Lakers are going to come out firing.
Yeah.
Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think. I got Lakers tonight.
Yeah, I got Lakers. If this was the Bizarro world and the Warriors were in this would be really interesting to see. But it's not, and it's just like look at these videos. You're seeing the Lakers playing, and they just look like they're moving. They've got that pep in their step. But what is that?
They look like they're cruising.
Yeah.
Oh, they're wearing. By the way, Lakers are wearing the Kobe jerseys tonight, I think.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Little extra motivation on the Kobe jerseys.
No. No.
All right, guys. Well, this has been awesome. We both have Lakers tonight. You said you have Celtics in the next series.
Yep.
I got the Heat. I got the Heat going up 3-0.
I got Celtics. Heat. I got Celtics at least winning this next one. I don't think think after that they'll lose. They won't have the energy.
I think the Heat go up 3-0.
All right.
3-0.
We'll see.
But anyway, this has been the first episode of Washed, guys. Thanks for hanging out, Steve. This has been cool, man.
Yeah.
I like this.
Always.
This was maybe we need a little more direction, but other than that, we've had some fun.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get something figured out here soon.
All right, man. Well, everyone, take it easy. Thanks for your time, and Steve, we'll talk soon.
All right. Have a good one.
Take it easy.